Sure.
So it's 6:32. I will call this Board of Abatement meeting to order. It's September 9th, 2025. And the first order of business is reorganization. We haven't met since 2023. So some of us are new to the board. Plus, we've gone through the transition of 3 to 5 select board. So we've expanded our board to a total of 22 positions. So we need 12 for a quorum, and we have 13.
Yeah.
So I would like to open the floor for nominations to elect a chair of the board.
I'd like to nominate Mike Weinberg for chair.
I'd like to second it.
Thank you. I'll accept that nomination.
Mike Weinberg. Are there any other nominations? And are there nominations for vice chair?
How about,
I will second that.
Tom Jocelyn?
I'm Shane.
Tom Cheney.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
So Mike Weinberg and Peter Booth.
The second, yep. And I'll accept.
Tom, let's see. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I think we'll just combine it as one motion to elect Mike Weinberg as chair and Tom Cheney as vice chair of the Board of Abatement to serve a 2-year term ending February of 2027. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. I'm turning it over to Mike.
so for some of you, you may not have ever been in. So this is different than our typical Board of Civil Authority meetings. This is actually a quasi judicial meeting in which we're going to make a decision about how much taxes these two people are paying. There's a procedure we're going to follow, and Jessica has sent out our guidelines.
Does everyone have one?
Just later.
At some point, she's also going to distribute the field form that the taxpayers fill out. There's very specific language in the laws about when somebody can ask for their taxes to be abated. For those of you that aren't familiar with even the term, what they're asking for is to say that they can't pay their taxes, or they shouldn't have to pay their taxes for one of the specific reasons that are listed on that form. I think the most common that we've ever dealt with is some kind of a natural disaster, whether it be fire or I guess we haven't had floods, so I guess I'll say that most of them have been fires. And that their property is not of the value that it was at the time that it was appraised. And so people come to this board and say, things have changed. And it's up to us to decide if indeed their presentation is worthy of a change in what their taxes are. We will hear from the appellant. The burden of proof is on the appellant to show us that indeed what they've applied for is reasonable. After we've heard both of the, I think we have just 2 tonight. After we've heard from both of them, we will go into an executive session and make decisions. Is the person Jennifer? That's you.
Yep.
Oh, hi, thank you. Okay, so you'll have about probably 20 minutes, but you'll have time to, without, well, you start without any interruption. You present your case. We will listen attentively. People will ask you questions afterwards if there's things that need to be clarified. Any written evidence that you have, feel free to distribute. You've gotten this already.
And there's a vote for any witnesses. Of those? Yeah.
There's a couple back here, yeah,
Oh,
behind me here.
I'm gonna,
oh, not that. She wants more of this?
Yeah, yeah, I think there's a couple extra, because it's only one sheet thing.
You have extras of these? Oh, sorry.
Perfect, sorry.
I'm gonna swear you in,
I'm reading.
Okay.
okay? And just say under the pains and penalties of perjury, you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any members of this board that feel that they should recuse themselves from this case? Because you're already aware of the situation, or you have opinion that you've already come up with for this situation? Or are there any members of this board that you think should not be involved in making the decision?
I don't have any reason.
Is there anybody that feels that they should recuse themselves?
I don't feel I should recuse myself, but I just want to say I am a close friend of Jennifer. We have eaten dinner together, which is a thing that we used as a criteria we used in the past, but I feel like I can be neutral on this decision.
I also am a friend of Jennifer's and have had dinner at her house as well. But I do not feel as though that will affect my judgment.
Right?
I guess I can say that I've known her and known her and her dad and whatever, my brother's best friends for a lot of years, but I'm fine with that.
Okay.
We're a small town.
Right.
That's right,
That's
that's what happens, yeah.
And the people who know Jennifer haven't made up their mind already about what should be done. Okay. Why don't you start with what we need to know? Tell us what we should know.
Well, I had a surprise during the most recent reappraisal process that's happening. The representative called to talk through my property so that, you know, the one that's going on townwide right now can be completed by next year. And as she was talking through, she said, and so I see you have about 1,000 square foot outbuilding. And I'm like, we don't have an outbuilding. And so what was discovered is that there's been a very large outbuilding that ended up on my property's record, and I never knew about it, and it never, got caught. This time when the appraiser came to look around, because she then said, I'm going to come to your home. And, one of the great things I guess to know is that some people here have been at my home and know that, in the past 15 years for Laura, there's never been an outbuilding. So, since our boys were in kindergarten, she's seen my home and knows there's not an outbuilding, and never has been, nor has there ever been a request to build one or anything like that. So, so we started to try to figure out what happened. And I said, could it have been my parents? Could it have been my sister? The name Bame is on a lot of different properties. My grandparents had a house here in this town. But, so we talked through what could it be, and nothing was discovered to have been wrong with anyone else's situation. I then talked through, at first someone said, oh, well, they can only change it in the future. They can't go back. But then we actually looked at the abatement laws, and we are working with it being a mistake of error, which is 24 VSA 1535A4. And, and we don't know exactly when it happened, but we know it's been there since at least the reappraisal that was 2006, because that was 06 and it was there as of 11. So, so it kind of goes way back, and I know that the valuation was less than it is now from 2011 to 2017, at least, but we don't really know what it was before that. So my request that I've put forth is that I was told that this building that doesn't exist or never has was valuated at $18,000 with $403 a year of tax from 2017 until this 24-25 year. And it's already been changed in my current bill. So that's been updated so that this year I don't have to pay that. They've already realized it's a mistake. And then we talked through that before that, with the lister's office, that it was valued a little bit lower than 18,000. And then we're not really sure what it was valued at from the 06 appraisal until the 2011 it was done? Yeah. So, so I'd like to find a reasonable solution to, what I paid over these years for a building that didn't exist. So it's kind of cut and dry that it was a mistake. And this time when they came around, they left a note on my door. There was someone to talk to and call. I've known that reappraisals were done in the past, but I never got like a card on my door or anything like that. And so I've heard that a lot of things are really being done really well this time, that they haven't really been done as smoothly in the past. So, so I would like to work together with the board to think through, like, I know it's $403 since 2017-18 year, but before that, I know that the value wasn't 18,000, it was more like 15. And then I don't know how to resolve the time before that. I was going to ask for like just $200 a year for that to be just kind of a, token acknowledgement that it was a problem since then. So, because we can't really know for sure before 2011 what that building was valuated as. So, so I actually didn't want to ask for a specific amount. The 403 per year for those 8 years equals 3,224. I was guesstimating that it would be more like 300 a year for the 6 years before that. And then for the 5 prior to that, I was just gonna ask for a token like 200 a year, so another 1,000. So that total would be 2,800 plus 3,224 is $6,024. And I'm open to hearing any questions.
Are there any questions? that anybody
I
has?
was curious, didn't we do a reappraisal in 2016?
16 and 5 reappraisals. So
Yeah, I know, I wondered, was curious why it didn't get caught then.
Because we know about it. Do you want me to talk now or do you want that to be later?
Right, so the
That's the-
listers will be a,
Yeah, because you're part of the board. I think your question should be directed to the appellant, actually.
Yeah, I just wondered why, it wasn't.
Right,
I just-
from that time, I didn't realize that, that I did have the right to come in and look at a card or say like, should I be paying less? I definitely was an overwhelmed single parent you know, divorced in 2006, who would not have shown up here with a 3 and 5-year-old at home 90% of the time. So that's why I would have no clue and just get the bill and pay it, you know, so.
I will add that unless there's a permit or some reason for us to come out there, nobody would go
Would
there
inspect the
until a
property.
reappraisal happens.
Right. So I don't know how they, and whose building it might be that they confused me with. It was just a shock to hear like the what? And I even asked the previous owner, who I grew up babysitting for, who's a friend of mine, did you ever like put in a application to build try to get a permit to build an outbuilding? She's like, no, nothing like that, to confuse the situation. So I know it's been a lot of money.
Can you explain to me how you came up with the number of dollars since the last reappraisal? I know you were kind of approximating from before that, but
Yes.
where did that number?
So I was told that, by the lister's office, that the building that was out there was valuated at $18,000. And that this would be as the amount of tax that would have been charged to me. for that.
2011 was valued at 18,000?
2017 and Route 18 would have been the first year at 18,000. 11 to 18 or 11 to 17 was a couple thousand less. And then we didn't know and that was a surprise to me that you guys don't have a record
Going back before 2011.
before that, but that because there wasn't a reappraisal then, it was definitely there since the 2006.
So you have hard numbers for 2011 to now.
Yes,
You can say, you owe me this amount of money.
yes,
And then and that's the 5642 number.
that would be 5,024. And then I'm asking for just a token 200 a year for the 5 years before that, but
Peter, I
you
don't
guys
think
don't-
5,642 is what she's asking.
no, that's
And all
a new number. Yeah, that one, this was done before I knew some
So
of
this
the
is the amount
facts.
being requested for.
Yeah,
Right. So she's asking for a different number than this.
Okay, I
Yes.
was trying to build my way to the 6,024.
thank you.
6,024, yeah.
6,024 is my new number. I am hoping that will include 200 a year for the 2006 through the 2011 5 years. Maybe it would be more, maybe, but there's no way. We know that it's probably more. That's okay.
So what's the 5,642 on the application? You know what that is?
That was broken down on the back by actually
So, yeah.
asking for more. I was asking for 14 years at $403. Which,
Oh, but then you realize that 11 to 17 is one window and then 17 to now is a different window.
yeah, I was asking for the big amount for all of the years, and that's not fair, I don't.
Do you know how much you paid each year from 11 to 17?
I was told what the value was of that building, when I talked with the lister's office, but, and told that the estimate would be that it was around 300 probably that I would have been paying, based on that it was a few thousand less at that point, but it was valued at 15 something instead of 18. But I don't remember the exact number I was given. It certainly is something that you could all research, and I'm happy to hear what those exact numbers would be, because I was given the exact number of 403. And
For 17 to 25.
yes, and when I made this request for 14 years at that, I thought that, I didn't realize it was
Right.
valued less before that,
Previous.
or that information was available to the town.
And that number is approximate because it was based on this year's tax rate. We can't say, we can never give anybody an estimate on taxes. It's not my job. And we don't know what the taxes are from year to year. So
Right.
that's an estimate, what the taxes, that's what it was this year. That portion would have been this year, but there's no way to tell going forward or unless you know the tax rate.
But we
You
knew
can
a
go
tax, but we
backwards.
knew a tax rate last year.
And the year
Like, we know
before.
how
Yeah,
much she,
yeah, so.
we know how
we
much she
have
paid
the
last
past,
year.
Right,
I mean, how much she paid the year before.
that's not my job to do that kind of work. I wasn't asked to. I have
Okay, so
stuff.
she could
Yeah.
do that if she wanted
She
to.
could do
She wanted to
that.
figure out the tax rate, what percentage of her house is the 18,000,
Right.
she could do that if she
Right.
wanted to.
I don't have time to do that.
Okay,
Okay,
Yes.
I just want to make sure you know that since this is reason 4, the mistake of is this the manifest error?
yeah,
The listers will be presenting as witnesses also. So they will need to take the oath before they present.
Thank you.
so any other questions?
I have another question, but I can't figure out how to word it so it doesn't sound negative, but it's not intended to sound negative. I just know the kind of things that we talk about when we get into our deliberative session. Do you think that you share any of the oversight for the misappraisal that happened in 2011 or whenever this happened? Because we all get an information sheet when there's a townwide reappraisal of how they arrived at the numbers.
I never got anything that was a breakdown, so I would say that something as major as a extra building that doesn't exist, that, you know, I've looked through I save everything, I've looked through everything I have nothing that says part of your property value includes this outbuilding that's almost half the square footage of my entire home. Like, my whole home is just, you know, over 2,000 square feet, and this building was almost 1,000 square feet. So that would have been alarming to me and obvious. So I regret that I wasn't more aware and that I wasn't in here checking my card. And, you know, I feel bad that, you know, the town is, you know, already spent this money and, you know, those things, but it also is just a very bizarre situation. And I feel confused and, you know, obviously sad that I, you know, wasn't aware, because I would have abused that money then.
Are you presenting evidence in the public hearing?
That's what Jessica wants me to do, if that's easier.
Presenting evidence as what?
in the public.
In this public?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, because the board can also ask the lister questions.
Okay.
Can I just ask one thing?
Mhm.
Then you were talking about, on the application, it says it lasts since 2011.
At least, thanks.
Oh, is that,
Yeah,
all
and I
right,
didn't
since
know,
2011,
and
okay.
I hadn't talked to the lifter's office yet to figure out when everything was appraised and how long it would have been there, but we know that it's been there since at least the 2006 appraisal. It certainly wasn't there on any, like, you know, house. I financed my mortgage and had, you know, reappraisals for that and have drawings and everything like that. There's obviously no outbuilding, you know, so. I guess that I'd just like to say that I'm happy to collaborate to what is the fairest number to come to, and if there are more real numbers. And I'm, you know, glad to do whatever number crunching that I'm eligible to do with help of knowing, you know, what's in the town record, but I don't have anything at home that would help you figure this out. I'd have to do it in collaboration. And I want it to be fair, so I'm happy to do that in a collaborative manner.
Are you the only person from the listers that's going to testify? Both of you are?
I have the packet, so.
Right, yeah, I've got a copy of it.
So
The oath
I-
is right on that clipboard.
the one about under the pains and, yeah, under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you give in this cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
Can I ask one question before we move to this part? This is now the other side.
Yeah, I have some questions.
Okay, so I'll ask one question while it's still in the window. This is sort of a question for you or just the group. I'm kind of a little bit hung up on the number.
Yes.
And am I right that whatever number Jen asks for, as long as, if we all decide it's reasonable, then we can go ahead with it. We don't need to, we might choose to, but we don't have to insist on to the penny documentation and math work to be done. If we feel like what you presented makes sense and adds up, we can say yes or no or whatever, but we don't need to demand. If we choose to, we don't have to demand to the penny accounting.
That would be my understanding.
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah. It says it's the final one.
Okay.
So, it seems clear that an error was made. My question is, do the rules governing abatement allow for refunding taxes charged inappropriately?
Yes.
And I just learned about that by getting the Secretary of State, document from the Lister's office. And seeing that there are no deadlines and that there's no limit to how far a Board of Abatement may go back. And I didn't know that. So I didn't know we did. I thought that when I first started this process, that it would be lucky for me to have 2 or 3 years, allowed, but we did some research.
And who's this from?
That's
The
my-
listers are
This
gonna
is
talk
from-
about
that's
it.
something
Listers
I put
document?
together.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and,
So when we got Jennifer's call, she's absolutely correct that there was an error and it was found when the reappraisal gal was going over her record. I did go back into the old reappraisal files and I do know what happened. Obviously it was before me, but when they did the sketching in 2005, that was done. And the sketching was drawn and then they had the second floor. So if you can imagine a sketch, so here's your house. And they had a second floor over here, all hand drawn. And whether it was that same person or another person that put the sketch or put the information into the system in the 2005 reappraisal, they put that as a detached building. And the same amount of square footage that her second floor is. It was the second floor piece. So that's
So it
what
would have looked
we,
normal to me,
it-
as I said.
you wouldn't
Right.
have seen it on the sketch. It was just on their hand drawing.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, when they did their review or whatever, nobody caught it. So that's been there since 2005. She's totally correct with that point. In that case, though, I do, like you said, Mike, that there is a little bit of burden on the homeowner's part because she did have 2 opportunities to review her record, knowing there was a reappraisal in 05 and a reappraisal in 16. As to what each company does, that varies. I don't have control over that. Sandra was also the one here in 16, so I can't speak on behalf of her or how that was handled. But at any rate, I do think that it's also an opportunity to challenge the assessment, yet fail to do so. And it's noteworthy for us as a board to consider for the Board of Abatement in their balance of the equities on both sides of this. So to be all fair and upfront. And we also have to balance the facts from each side. So in defense of the Lister's office, tax abatement is paid for by all who live in the town. So we have to take that into consideration. The education tax has been paid. We don't get any refunds on education tax when we do abatements. So that can be a hardship on taxpayers also. And then the other part is that as a board, we get to determine the factor whether she gets a refund or it gets a credit on taxes for the next tax bill or the next season. So we can, as a board, we can decide how that credit or refund is made.
Just a minute.
And in a reverse situation, in another piece of offense too, is that the town isn't gonna back bill. If you had done something like that, you had built that shed and we didn't catch it in any of our reappraisals, and then all of a sudden we caught it, the town's not gonna back bill you for 20 years worth of taxes. That just doesn't happen. For the same reasons, everything's already paid for, everything is spent, so the town's not gonna go back on you and charge you $6,000 for that same error.
But I would never build something in that.
Oh, that being said, that's fine, and I understand that, but I'm just stating the fact that if the situation was reversed,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be going after you or charging you that extra money.
Okay.
But just knowing that it does come out of the townspeople's pockets, that I think that needs to be considered in this large amount of money. But yes, and the breakdown, the value of the property from 2005 to 16 was 12.3.
Oh, good.
Say
And
that again?
with
Oh, okay.
12,300.
Yep.
And we did come up with the tax rates for each of
Oh,
those
okay,
years.
that's what I thought.
So I did do my homework.
I thought that wasn't your job.
It isn't.
You did it.
Amy actually did that piece for me because Amy's she had it right there at her fingertips.
Oh,
So
okay.
collaboratively with the other people that are involved in this money.
You said that started in 05, so
Yes.
this would have gone
Yeah,
back to
It
that.
would have done. That's because we hadn't had a reappraisal since then, so.
Right. Okay, so there's 5 more years, or 6 more years. 5,
Yes,
6,
but we
7.
didn't have
Yeah,
the tax.
the list is more evident.
We didn't have the rates for those, so we went back to what we could.
Rather than questions and answers.
Yep.
Right, but the
So
evidence part.
that's
To be
that's
presented
my
without-
piece, right? That's, I
Sure.
mean, that's what I have. That's
Martha, no.
what it was. And
There's nothing that we've seen back and you didn't see a building permit. I mean, you've gone through and.
no, they
Nope.
did do also, she did do an addition on her house. And there was another opportunity for, her to say, oh, well, what's on my card or what, so I just want that to be, like he said, I just want, I think that, where this goes needs to be seen on both sides, the responsibility.
Yeah, and we'll talk about all
Yep.
that with
But,
decision.
so that's my spiel.
Sure.
Okay,
This probably doesn't need to be asked, but just to be 100% clear, when the floors were split, the main building wasn't undervalued as.
No, because the
Okay.
second floor got added,
So
yes,
they included the first floor and the second floor in the main building, and then the second floor again as a second building.
yeah,
wanna make sure
yeah,
we didn't
because of
say,
the
like,
way that it
floor
was
is
drawn
valued
out,
as second.
you're right,
Okay.
because they didn't have cabins back then.
Okay, I just wanted to
Everything was
clarify.
hand drawn, so.
Go ahead.
I'm not super, I've never, well, I guess I was a resident when the last appraisal, though I know nothing of what that process was for me. Never spoke with anybody, don't recall seeing anything. I just bought in 2015, but it sure seems like, I guess I was involved. So this card thing, I don't know what that means. So I guess I'm wondering, what's the process? So an appraiser comes in, looks at your house, comes to a conclusion. What goes from there? And then as a property owner, what information am I going to receive from the town versus what is on file
There
here
were-
that I suppose I could come look at if I wanted to?
Right, there were booklets published for both of those reappraisals. Everybody got mailed one.
Ahead of time.
Everybody got it. That showed you what your previous was and what your new was. Everybody got it.
I definitely never saw one if
Yeah.
that happened in 20.
I just know they were mailed out.
2016.
I wasn't in control of that back then, but,
Okay.
so I do know, because I have them.
Okay.
So there are 2005 and 2016 booklets that were mailed out. A reappraisal company, like I said, they all do different things.
Yeah.
I wasn't here in 2005, so I can't speak for that one. So I don't know. In 2016, there were postcards sent out. Fortunately, the company that we're using now does it a little further and, really reaches out and, asks for the homeowners, participation. If you don't want us to come in, can we review this with you? They'll video, they're very accommodating. And they also put a door hanger to let you know they've been there. And on that door hanger tells you how to reach our office. And it also tells you how to log on to the website with your personal code to look at your record. Right now, there's not a lot on there, so people are calling and saying, there's nothing there. Well, it'll get better and bigger. They're working on putting all the new land schedule tables together. All that's being done behind the scenes. These guys are just out there gathering the information. Because the reappraisal's not complete until next June. So.
I've been in the house since 2000, what was it, 2, and never had an experience like this before. This has been wonderful and very clear, and I got online and I see my card. Most of the people I know in this town have no idea that you're responsible for coming and doing that for yourself.
So in this booklet that you get mailed, given the fact that I don't recall ever getting one, it's quite possible, I guess I did. What would it have been very clear that, this house was, or this property was, a total of 3,000 square feet.
It
as
wouldn't have
opposed to-
broken it down.
But it would have
versus
said
outdoors.
3,000 square feet or whatever the
Yeah.
right number is.
Yeah,
And so,
And then
Jennifer could have looked
Right.
at that and gone, oh, no, I know I'm only 2,000 square feet.
no, it would have shown her property, that square footage, I believe, because it wouldn't have shown the outbuildings. It gave you your total assessed value. It didn't, I don't think it broke
Okay,
it
so you
down.
would
I
never
can't
know.
remember, but I do.
I
know
know, I
that
have
house-
it downstairs.
They
It
also
might have
have
broke
the-
down land, it might have broke down the
But
house site
like-
value plus the land.
Right,
land
I don't think it gave you the whole, like, a property
Right,
record.
because they did have the land
I
value.
think it might say like land and outbuildings.
And the
Yeah.
$400
I think it's together,
increase, I would have just thought the taxes went up $400 this year.
Right,
So we're not quite sure what's in that booklet, but it seems reasonable to conclude that the homeowner wouldn't necessarily be able to pick up the distinction or the change.
well, I can say in 2016, 210 of them did.
Well, we're not,
Well, I mean, dollar,
Right, dollar, sure.
dollar,
Yeah.
you're sure.
Right,
Because,
no,
because
right,
most of us would go, oh, it's going up. Okay, yeah. the
right.
time-
And I think
times have
most
changed.
people's focus is on previous and new.
Yeah,
Right.
but ultimately, I think a homeowner could pretty quickly see the difference between, oh, last time they said I had a building that was 2,000 square feet, now they're saying it's 3,000 square feet. Okay, but it feels like that information is maybe not there, and if we're looking at total assessed value, you could say, oh, that seems right, with
Taxes
prop-
go up.
everything goes up.
and it may have,
Property value goes up.
it definitely said land, because I remember, because I kept my copy, because it's useful for names and addresses.
Yeah, but so it's land, but it's not
But it might have said land and outbuildings, I don't remember specifically, because
land being acres,
yeah,
not square foot.
right, it's just land acres.
I think
and
land
but
being value.
Oh,
Land value and
Your house is
outbuildings.
worth $200,000, your land and
Yeah.
outbuildings are worth
Okay.
$100,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
but no mention of
But no
square
mention of
footage.
like.
So-
Okay, so there's no way you could pick this up just by glancing at that quickly and going like, property values go up.
right.
But you could come to this card, and this card that's in the town clerk's office would have that level of detail?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Many people do that.
Is there any
We
other,
have a lot of people coming in that'll
is there any
say,
other evidence
No,
before
I'm
we
done.
get to?
I have a question with the state payment, the education state payment. How does that factor in? Like, there's no way to know.
There's
If
no
there
way
was
to know what,
So we might be abating taxes that were actually,
that she already got a prebate on.
yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
That's
know.
true. Because it comes off your total tax due.
What's this, so in this, sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, I'm still trying to move us along with evidence. Because we are gonna talk about this.
But I have questions that I need to ask the witnesses.
Yes,
Before
that's what we should
before we
be
get into
doing.
deliberation.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing.
Okay. How is this, what is this tax rate? So, for example, just this year, it says 2.3310.
That's the homestead
That's
tax
the
rate.
combined tax
That's
of
local
education and
yeah.
local.
Yeah. Yes.
The people on Zoom don't have this.
Well, can you hold it up?
Hold it up to a
Will they
camera.
see it, right?
We can explain.
We're gonna explain what it shows.
Right. And I can try to hold it up. I don't know if you guys can
That's
see
not
this.
the-
No, that's the camera over there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I get close to it? Let's try. See.
No, no.
Further
wrong
away.
camera.
No, that's the speaker.
You guys, over there.
That's the wrong camera.
Fun anyone.
They're not going to see it.
There it is.
There it is. It's right underneath you.
They can't see it. They can't see it at all.
Sorry.
So it's a tax table that shows, so Laura and Tom, it's a table that shows tax year in one column from 2011 to 2025. And then the value of the outbuilding each year,
It's still too small.
and then the tax rate and how much.
You
tax
have it
was
up there,
paid.
but it is small.
Yeah, that's okay though. I'm getting enough of it.
Pick it up.
Jess, you don't have a copy.
Does anybody else have
Share.
anything that we need to do in this public?
Actually,
And if they needed it, they may not, but
It could be email.
she might be able to share it. So just,
I guess.
While
not.
we wait for deliberative session, and if they need it during the
I
session, we can put it,
so I just.
they can take a picture of it.
Jennifer, do you have anything else for us?
I'm texting it to Laura.
Oh, you took a picture. Okay.
Text it
I
to
have
Laura.
a question for the listers. And I guess it's, do we know of any similar instance where this has happened in recent memory? Just for any kind of, what did
No,
we do
not
last time
really.
kind of thing?
Not really. It's the first time it's ever come
Yeah.
up. And again, it was caught by somebody looking out and saying, hey, you got a shed out here.
Yeah.
Or on your card, not on your card, but it's not like, right. I know. I know.
I don't
Detached
remember.
building.
Okay.
What I can say about that is when the assessors are going out now, the way they do their sketches are different because they have them stacked differently. And so this one, the shed, I mean, I don't know if I can explain it, but here's the home with the upper story that's up here, but they also, because it was an addition, they
Drew it
drew
off.
on the sketch off to the side what actually was placed on top of the house. And that was whoever did the sketch way back. And some people did sketches like that. The sketch was very hand drawn in. And you could see the exact footage that was over here off to the side where it actually was just literally, it was on top of there and it never got, the sketch never removed what was over there until it was called a shed.
Where is this sketch?
You have one? I may have one.
No.
I'm very curious.
Have you seen it, Jen?
No, while you're
The
looking
sketch?
for that, no, I haven't. While you're looking for that, I just want to say I appreciate, the accuracy of this. I know my numbers are guesses. This is much more accurate. And then I know it's 6 years instead of 5, but, I guess I would just request to add 1,000 on this for the previous 6 years. So my new updated request is not that different from on here. It would be 5,332 instead of 5,642. So this is a wonderful work that Amy did. My request is now to just add 1,000. Doesn't matter 5 years, 6 years.
So the sketch is part of the public record.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
guess I don't need to see it. I just need. And it's,
Does it say
and so
outbuilding?
this is
But it doesn't
something,
say outbuilding. Okay.
Right
this
here.
is something that has been accepted in the past by the listers.
Say that
I'm not
again.
this sketch
Yeah,
is something that has been accepted in the past by the listers.
it was I dug it out of a 2005 folder that's in the vault.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's not my
But
point.
yeah, well, this,
Okay,
because
it's-
it's actually the listers didn't see this. Because this is the this is the appraiser, this is the assessor that went out and did the drawing. And you can see the second stories up here, and you can see this over here, it says
No, I got
two
that.
floor. But
What I'm trying to figure out is, was this presented to the listers at some point?
in 2005, the appraiser assessor would have just sketched this. And then they go through and somebody does a review of what they've done.
The
At
company,
that time, the company that did
totally
the
looks like
reappraisal,
it's over.
we are
Hang on,
catching this, so we don't see this
I have
till
another
it's
way to answer the
done.
question.
Right, we don't
I
see
know what
this
you're
till it's done.
You saw it.
I didn't see it, I wasn't
Not
here in
you,
2000.
the town of Jericho.
They probably didn't see this until later, because we don't get
But
the,
the town accepted.
yes, they accept the
report- The
reappraisal.
reappraisal
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
this home and all
Right.
the others.
They said,
So
they said we stand by this.
They are not the ones putting their eyes on it, so
they certainly,
They-
they certainly could have.
they could
And
have,
so they accept, the town accepts the responsibility and the ownership.
yes,
Of the
for what the
report,
reappraisal.
Because they
people did, yes.
contracted, it's an extension of the town, and so it is a product of the town.
Two floor.
So it clearly was an error, but
Anybody have anything else? We have another
I-
case.
I had a question.
So the listers may have only seen the computer generated
right, they would have.
value. They may not have seen the hand drawing.
Cause it gets put in
But-
It
folders.
was lost in translation, maybe.
It's
Not
worked out.
It was submitted to the town as part of the record.
Have a pen.
Yes, it was, in 2005, yes, it was.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I do. So I didn't realize you guys. The listers.
No, they're gonna see us.
You guys,
Wait a minute,
So
hold
we're-
on. We're gonna, we need to draw this to a conclusion.
So I have, this is, I didn't realize that you kind of brought a record or, something more than what you presented here. So I guess and I don't need to know everything that's in there, I suppose, but a couple things I am wondering is, do we have a copy of that booklet that we could take a look at that goes out to the town or to the owner of the property or whatever it is? And do we have a copy of the card that's somewhere here or whatever?
I have a copy of the new card without the outbid.
I don't need the new card. We need the ones that are in question. Because we don't have those here.
Right, and I don't have all the cards either. I
Okay.
didn't print the cards. It wasn't the cards that were the issue. It was the taxes that were the issue.
Yeah, but one of the
And
questions.
there's no way for me to print. We didn't start freezing files
Okay,
that do this until most recently. So there's no way that I could.
Okay.
That's why I was happy to have found what I did, because there's none of this for every
well, that's
single
great. I mean,
year.
and this is really, really handy. I guess what I'm saying is, if we're, one of the, I think, arguments that the lister's office has made is that the homeowner has not, or the taxpayer has had the opportunity to review documents to come to the conclusion that there was a mistake made and that they failed to do so, in which case we ought to take that into consideration, right?
Yeah.
When we're making this decision. And I guess what I'm saying is, I would love to see what those materials look like to assess whether someone could truly make an informed decision based on looking at those materials. So I think we came to the conclusion that the booklet probably doesn't have the information that Jennifer would need to come to the conclusion that there was an
No, it
error.
wouldn't.
But the card maybe would, is I think what I kind of heard.
Right, and the card is
But-
available to the public every day of the year.
Yeah, but you didn't bring that
It's
card
not
here.
sent out.
But it's not sent out. They would have to know to come, but.
They would
okay.
have to know to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are notified of a townwide reappraisal, and I'm a curious person, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I've lived here since 1985,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I got my booklet,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
We need.
Besides the booklet, do they also get mailed the change of appraisal notice
Yes.
in a
they-
townwide
yes, they-
reappraisal? So everyone would have received.
Everybody gets a townwide, the change of appraisal, and so if that wasn't enough to make you say, gee, why did I go up, or can I view my record? I don't know what else to.
Yeah.
That's on everybody has different priorities. I can't say,
Well,
well,
most people probably don't think that
Right,
an outbuilding.
an outbuilding was added to the, right.
Yeah,
So
It's like a rare,
right, and it's not
incredibly rare
something
case.
that happened, like I said, this is the
Right.
first time in my 16 years that I've come across this, so.
we will
It's
get
very rare.
back to you in writing
Thank you.
within 30 days.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And you have my final sort of request, not that that's gonna.
Which
be
is
what-
533-245.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
It's much a surprise too.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Right. I believe from the agenda. Wherever that we have a second hearing.
So
It's in-
I can send some, he's not coming.
we don't go and deliver
But he-
until the end.
Right.
You can send some that way, and if there's extras on this side, if you can go around to Jen. I might not have divided it right.
Yeah.
But I can speak about the request. Maybe I'll get started,
Do you need some?
but I should put the time.
You got one, here's the next.
So our policies are that if there is nobody here to present this to us, we go based on what the written request has to say.
Is this all we have, Jen?
That and a copy of the tax bill. And the Lister card. So the Lister card was,
Are you taking them out? Yeah.
so that's an example of a card.
We have a Lister card for,
The Lister card was emailed. I can make more
I couldn't open
copies.
it. I couldn't open the attachment.
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
it was kind of like all
Mhm.
together as a packet, like a multi-page. If you open this, it would have been like
Yeah,
page
I couldn't
2.
open it.
Oh, okay.
Any of the Langlois stuff I couldn't.
Oh, I saw this.
So I can do you want me to open the Lister card in the email that I sent? Do you want me to
Yes,
project that on the screen? So it's gonna take me a minute to figure it out.
Peter, do you want my card? My copy, because I have.
Well, no, I have one here. I'm looking at the top. Thank you.
But that way too, the people on
The people
Zoom will be
can
able to
see it.
see. I have to move her.
I can see it from what you sent me before, Jessica.
Okay, so you can see it.
Yeah, I have it open.
Jericho. No.
So since we have no one here to testify, we just look at this and then Lori
am
and Martha have a chance to give their side.
I don't believe I've ever been part of a,
So in this case, the listers are part of the board now. They're not
right.
not providing.
I don't think
That
where they were actually witnesses rather than participants.
when they did what this was a minute ago.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think I've ever been part of a board of abatement that's happened.
There are only
What's that?
witnesses under
Reason
criteria
for,
4.
yeah.
Outside of criteria 4, they're just.
Thank you. Okay.
So board,
Can they vote on,
so they won't be
Here's what
voting
I
on the
wanna-
first.
they will
What I
not
wanna
be
say
voting
is
the
that-
first one. Okay, okay.
By the statute, the burden of proof is on the person who makes the appeal.
Mhm.
And so if all the person who's making the appeal is presenting is this,
And these two things.
And what she's gonna put up.
Right, that which is these two things.
Yeah.
okay, then that's
That's the sum total of their testimony.
right.
And because it's not topic, it's not reason for, the listers on outlet lists.
Because they have
Yeah.
nothing to do with us.
Yes, that's true. I don't know.
Unless they say.
I was guessing that's.
Oh, you were guessing.
Witnesses.
I think,
That's what you were saying, is they're not, you're only seeing them be witnesses because no one's ever come in on a reason for before.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever seen that the listers were actual witnesses. of it.
Right.
So
Oh.
I have, yeah, I remember there was a barn that was maybe, they had a building permit on one property. And they sold that property, but they actually built the barn on a different property. The properties were adjacent, and so they did come back to the board.
For the manifesto.
Wanting to go back a number of years. And at that point, they were told that the grand list was closed so that they couldn't go back. They could only go back
We may need
the
to talk.
current year. But that's different than the Board of Abatement decision.
So for this one that we're considering now, we have,
Okay, yep, I downloaded it.
Card.
Now I have to share the screen. This is the tax bill and this is the lister. Oh, but it's gonna be sideways,
You can
unfortunately.
rotate it.
Okay, so I need to share the screen first. How do I go back?
Get on the Zoom, the bottom.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Do we, if they're not voting for the first one,
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about
do
that.
we have a quorum?
Yes, we do, because we had two on Zoom.
No, it's a different question that we're gonna have to answer. Yeah,
If you wanna share this,
Yes, please.
you wanna go to Laura. Now go to expand. Then share.
And now click on the up down. Not sure.
Okay. But this will be helpful to everyone in the room as well.
And so now you should probably scroll down and then rotate. the page.
Yeah, so the reason was a fire. These are some details that can help with the calculation. This is the tax bill from 2024. And that was actually one thing I wanted to point out in the warning. I said tax year 2025 for both of them, but it's actually the tax bills say tax year 2024. I don't know, and I guess the lister cards say like they don't match.
Well,
They're different years. So we're talking about tax year 2024. It's not the current tax year that we're in is called tax year 2025, but it's called fiscal year. It's also called fiscal
it's
year
still-
2025.
It's
Okay,
fiscal year
yeah.
2025, absolutely.
But so we're actually talking about the bill that they received in July of 2024 and had a September 2024 payment and a March 2025 payment, and the fire was February 15th, 2025. So how do right here, I can rotate. So this is a lister card. This is the corrected lister card after the fire.
right,
So it's showing
no house.
a full value
Oh,
of
that-
113,100. Is that correct?
Yes,
And the tax bill value when the bill was sent out in July of 2024, their assessed value was 264,500. So I switched this back.
Can I ask a question? This seems to me like it's a straightforward math. problem.
Yes, yep.
yeah,
There's no need to discuss anything. We just need to, and am I right that the tax rate, that the value of the property changes the date of the fire?
Correct.
So we need to figure out what portion of the tax year did the building exist?
right.
And then at that point, we need to adjust from that day forward, and it's just a problem.
And the building comes off and
Is this
all they get
person-
for taxes on the land.
Yep. And
They
so
still have the
is
land
this
value.
person, who's responsible for doing that math? Cause I don't want, I don't wanna do that math by committee. I want someone to do it.
The only things to consider,
Don't know the answer to that. I have a form in front of me that does not have a dollar amount on it.
No,
it says to be calculated.
Yeah, in fact, I think we
That's
need an
too-
explanation of how this,
Prior
it
to
looks like
being-
Jessica filled out this form. So I think we need a
So-
full understanding.
Hold on.
I won't do it because.
I have a form in front of me, does not have a dollar amount on it, nor does it have a signature.
Correct.
Does have, this is
Jessica's signature.
Jessica is not the appellant.
Bro, but I think we need to ask, we need the backstory. We haven't gotten the backstory yet.
said, and it did say prior to the meeting that you'd have it calculated, somebody was supposed to have.
Oh, does it? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it says on here to be calculated prior to meeting, so that doesn't.
Jessica, is this your handwriting?
Filled out the
Filled-
form completely. I had a verbal conversation with Brian Stevens back at like the beginning of August. Or basically, we received the first request for abatement, and I said, we have this one pending. I know of a fire and haven't received a request from the appellant. Should I contact him? I didn't have a phone number or an email to contact him. And I was gonna send him a letter, and I happened to be driving back on Route 15, and I was like, well, I'll just go see what the property looks like. And I went down Palmer Lane and saw that there was like a new foundation and nothing there. And then I went to turn around, and then when I came back, there was actually a white pickup truck in the yard. And so I stopped and I said, "Are you Donald Langlois?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm the town clerk." And he's like, "What are you doing out here on Sunday?" And I said, "I know you had a fire. We have a board of abatement. Would you like to put in a request? I need your permission in order to facilitate a request for the Board of Abatement to consider abating taxes." And in my conversation with Brian earlier was like, it's a no-brainer that, the town should consider an abatement. And Brian did say that he would help me calculate it. Initially, he was going to be able to come to the meetings, and then something came up. So he was not able to attend tonight's meeting, but it has not been calculated by me or the treasurer's office.
It looks like the value of his land is not included at all.
So the assessed value was 264,500. And the new value
With no house on it.
now, the lister's calculated value is 113,100. So the loss, the amount of the loss was 151,400. And then it was February 15th, so it's 135 days of the tax year. And then I put the two tax rates, but one question I don't know, the board, and I guess the board can even decide if they're gonna hear this or not, right? But they also, looks like they filed their homestead declaration late, so the town assessed a late filing fee of 134.80. So I don't know if you would just use the tax rate or if you would use the additional fee that the town put on, or if you would prorate it 135 days. And then, there's a state payment. So do you use the net tax assessed, or do you? This is all different than, this is the first fire we've had since these state payments now get taken off of the tax bill. People used to get a check in the mail.
Right.
So the town had
No
no control over it. Yeah. So in the past, there was a fire, they would have been going on the full tax, not the net tax. So I turn it back to Mike.
So
I think we need to go into our deliberative session.
yeah, we have all evidence.
So I can close the recording. I'm keeping the meeting open, but I'm just turning off. Oh, but we'll need a
I
motion.
wanna ask one. Should have an open session, which is, it is reasonable for, and allowed that you could make a request on behalf, I guess it does, if signed by. So, we don't see anything written from him that authorizes you to make.
No, it was only verbal. Yeah.
Okay, and do we know, practice on that, like, you're going under the assumption that this was okay, but to do this, but yeah.
Yeah, I could have driven back out with the form and got a signature.
Yeah.
Was
Was he invited to this meeting?
Right.
Yes, he
It was,
received,
but-
he received the certified mail and I did get the response back.
Well, I would, based on number one, taxes are charged as a persons who have died insolvent. Since they've died, I would assume that.
They didn't die.
I know, but that's, I'm suggesting
She's
that
saying,
Oh.
number one, it's me.
That's
done,
why-
there's nobody gonna be there to sign the
nobody's gonna
paper.
be here to come to do that, so, the fact that they're not here is not necessarily a problem. Because
But they're.
somebody, like town clerk or the listers would come in and say, these guys aren't gonna pay the taxes because we just found out he died, but he.
So an example actually in the past is Nate Eli, who was my neighbor, had a fire. He completed the form and signed the form. And we heard his request. He didn't come to the meeting. We just
It's less important.
we just looked at what was in writing. Yeah.
Thought you had something there.
Oh, I was just saying, if someone dies, typically that's an agent of their estate is who I would assume they mean by an agent.
Yeah.
So in this case, Jessica was the agent.
Right.
In his response to your certified letter, did
It's kind of.
It says.
It's all deliberative. So we should.
Well, we haven't moved, I tried to do that.
I saw that attempt.
I don't think this was.
Pardon me?
Facts.
I just made a motion and she seconded.
What was the motion?
To go into executive.
Deliberative session.
Okay, so let me stop the recording.
Well, let's vote on the motion.
Okay,
All those, is there any discussion about going into deliberative session? All those in favor of moving to deliberative session, say aye. Opposed? Okay.
Aye.
Thank you.
all right, so 8:45. Do you want me to just go to item 4?
Yes.
So back in 2023, we had 2 subcommittees. One was talking about the delinquent tax policy. It used to be an 8% penalty on the final of 2 installments. And so in 2023, it got changed to breaking the 8% up to 4% on each of the 2 tax installments. And that started the tax year, when the taxes started July 1st of 2024. So we've been through 1.5. So actually last year was the first year that it was broken up into 4%. And we didn't receive any complaints, we didn't receive any requests for abatement when people got hit with the 4% at the final installment versus the 8. So
Was that
it was,
done by the select board?
Oh,
yeah, December of 2023.
I don't know if that was an ad infinitum or for a limited period of time.
no,
I think it was to review in 2 years.
yeah, it was. But it was, Peter and Kathy came to the select board and we decided to go 4 rather than it's not 8% all at once.
So that's gonna expire after 2 years?
Yeah, because we wanted to see what what the impact was, but it doesn't appear to be, so it could be, then turned into a permanent solution.
So do you need anything from this board to turn it into the permanent?
But it doesn't hurt if you support it.
So anybody have a motion with to support the continuation of the 4%, rather than the single?
Yeah, I would. No one's gonna try not to talk much, but
Well,
yeah.
well, I was really looking to you and Kathy because you kind of got us to this point, and I can't remember all the details and as to whether you both were satisfied as our representatives with that solution.
I was not satisfied, but
I saw it as, the best compromise we were likely to achieve without dragging it on unnecessarily.
that's what I was saying.
So, okay, so Peter made a motion, but it hasn't been
Oh,
seconded.
nothing.
Okay. Any other discussion about
Carol's.
making a recommendation to the select?
So the motion was to support the continuation of the 4% penalty on each of the 2 tax installments.
I don't hear anybody wanting to say anything.
My only discussion
Oh,
would
good.
be, sorry, would
Good.
just
I
be,
fell asleep.
that I would just say quickly that, I think that this board in 2023 had other views, and we certainly could live to fight another day if we wanted to, but I'm not sure that we have the stamina to have that conversation now.
Precisely, like I said, you are correct.
I mean, I
The motion can be tabled.
understand
Table.
that this is the choice that's being made. I still don't necessarily want to vote for a motion to support it.
Yeah.
Because why?
Cause I think back to our 2023 conversation of the,
You,
but is this? It's
all,
4%.
right, I want to know if you were like, no, I want to go back the way it was, or you want
No,
to
no,
go
no.
to 0.
Yeah. I think
I
it's a lot.
don't wanna extend this, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, you're new, yeah.
So.
The 4% or 8% is a can be an excessive slap on the wrist on somebody's tax bill.
Got it.
And,
Enough said.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
Just so how about this? I could suggest we let it run for another 2 years. And then revisit it. Why? Because then we have a greater sense of whether it had mostly done what Peter and I had hoped when we suggested doing away with the penalty altogether. And it would give us a chance to bring it back up when we weren't all brain dead and hungry and cranky.
When does it roll out?
I would assume it was passed, right?
It's the
in
select board
December.
timetable,
Next
yeah.
tax cycle,
Right,
right?
be December of
26,
25.
27.
Yeah.
After the townwide
Okay.
reassessment.
After the townwide
Sorry.
I think that it would be interesting to talk to Amy to find out how many actual delinquent who missed like the September payment or the March payment, whether it
So what about that?
better, whether it was a better advantage to people on it. I think there should be a penalty, and I liked the 4 and the 4, opposed to somebody getting totally slammed in the end at 8%. But it would be interesting just to see if that actually, because your tax bills come out and it says on, you will be charged 4% if you're late for your September payment. It would be interesting to see if we had delinquent taxes, or whether those went down for each installment.
I'm
Is the
wondering-
system
Could
working?
we,
Not.
So
could we meet in a year? I mean, vote to continue it for a year, and then this group meets whether we have, since we don't have something to. Yes, Peter. Oh, wait,
well, wait a
no.
minute. We don't enact this. This is a select.
We
board
can't
enact-
meet unless there's a request.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not this board's decision to continue the penalties or not. We brought it to the select board's attention and the select board determines the penalties and how they're going to work.
But we could make a recommendation.
But
and
you
that's
made a,
what
you,
what was to make a
this group
recommendation.
made a recommendation though, is that correct? Of 4%?
No, we
Correct.
did not make that
It
recommendation.
was the select
Oh,
board.
you didn't? Okay, all right. Select board did it in a different meeting. Okay.
Peter,
I'm gonna try and very quickly give the whole backstory, which is that this body went to the select board and said, we want the 8% penalty to be removed. There's no penalty for late payment. The select board in that same meeting said, nope, but we will do 4% and 4% instead of 8% at the end. And they did that for 2 years, which expires, I'm guessing, December of 25, which is this year.
No, it's actually the fiscal year 26, 27.
Yeah, it
basically.
didn't start until the next tax
Oh,
year.
okay.
Yeah.
So we have until
Next June.
March of 27.
Yes,
March 27 is when it will next be. And that would be the time.
then
When
there's
the-
no rush to act on this
No.
now at all.
Yeah, no. Yep. And we're all cooked, so it's not.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
we're tabling it.
Yes.
Well, except we have to, there's a motion, we have to
Is everyone?
either withdraw it or withdraw it. It can be
No, I withdraw the motion.
It was, yeah, okay.
Who seconded?
I second.
It was Kath.
I second Carol did. Peter withdraw.
Okay.
So the motion is withdrawn.
Yeah, tax abatement.
4B, the only, so this is a sample of the tax abatement request form. And I am gonna have to modify it anyway, because there's an additional reason for tax abatement and I can't remember what it is right now. I think it may be related to floods. But I think there was a concern that this statutory language is not very easy for a common, well, if you're looking for a plain language, 6th grade reading level, this is not it.
Yeah.
And so there was a committee that was gonna look at rewording it or doing something. And that has not gone anywhere. So would there be people who would want to be on a committee to update this form?
I always click that form with ChatGPT and say. reproduce it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Not kidding.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly.
But I think we could have a subcommittee that kind of just
And then
works to
it's-
vet
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I think I saw it in the meeting minutes that I was on that committee. I was also trying to remember what the heck happened.
I know,
I'm happy
I
to,
think you were on the committee, Megan.
We worked really hard on it.
we were, yeah,
So
we're,
hard.
Still in process.
It's still going.
but do we just want to say you, me and Jessica work
Sure.
on this?
Yeah, we can have up to 11 people. Because there's no quorum.
But what you worked on is not yet finished product.
That's right. But it will be very.
We worked on.
Can you also, again, think about in some way to build in the idea of the state payment into this form?
Oh, boy.
So that when somebody fills it out, they know, and Jen might be like, oh crap, I forgot about the state payment, I'm only gonna get $1,500 now or whatever. But to build in that fact somehow. So that the taxpayers are aware that that's an element.
I don't think that's part of the form. I think that's. Well, we don't need to figure that out.
And maybe that's part of
We
the
have-
6th grade
when
version.
Something is presented.
Sixth
The
grade
subcommittee will consider that question.
Yeah.
I mean, we have in a few different ways, but we'll keep working on that question.
May I make a motion to adjourn? Second.
all of it.
Aye.
Out of here.
The second was Jen,
Everybody else.
all of you. Thank you.
Um,
Thanks.
I'm gonna stop
Hold it.
recording.